Welcome back, malefactors and YouTubers. We are starting to hit the end stretch on working on this bike. Today's big goals are get the cams and valves adjusted and shimmed in here. I just check this every day to see if I'm still seeping out of my fork or my shock. It looks like this thing's done seeping, so maybe it was just a little leftover detritus in there. So some of the tools you're gonna need, of course, you're gonna need your feeler gauges so you can feel this out. And I need to find my cardboard I had for my valve adjustments. You'll need something to write on, obviously, so you can kind of figure out where you're at on your valves. Oh, there it is. You'll need a digital caliper to determine if you're unlucky enough to have unmarked shims, how thick the shim kits are on your bike. If they're from factory, there's a good chance that you won't have any markings on your shims, so kind of bear that in mind. Okay. So this is the $9 Harbor Freight digital caliper. We'll see. I figure it'll be fairly accurate. We're gonna test it against an actual shim. Alrighty. So from where I had these last time, all of my intakes were about 0.10. So the clearances on your intake are supposed to be between 0.15 and 0.20. So generally you're going to want to go to the large side of the spec, but since my feeler gauge doesn't have small feelers smaller than increments of 5, which I'm kind of surprised the Bike Master feelers don't have smaller feelers than that, but it is what it is. I'm going to go ahead and drop these shim packs. I'm gonna go 5 millimeters smaller, or 0.05 millimeters smaller. Yeah, just to make sure I'm not confusing folks. 5 millimeters is a huge difference between 0.5 millimeters. So anyhow, when you're working on your shims, basically you're gonna need to get your magnet out, shim under bucket, pick up the basket and the bucket and the shim. I'm gonna double check. So the exhaust cam with decompression pretty much so the manual on this will stay between 0.25 and 0.30 for your clearance on your exhaust valves. We're at 0.15, so I think I'm going to leave those alone. And I mean, yeah, normally you want to adjust to the high end of the range because valves tighten over time. Yeah, funny enough, something in there spinning, and it tightens over time. If it's in spec, why mess with it? And we'll double check these after we get these cams and caps installed. So, well, let's get underway. A few things you're also going to need when you're working on this, when you're doing the final reassembly, is alright, where is my current bag of tricks? Alright, that's my new gasket for my deal. Yeah, my current bag of tricks. Oh. Oof, that's a lot of shims in there. Alright. We got our shims. We got a Loctite. Got a new head gasket. We've got gasket maker. We've got bolts. Get this out of the way. Alrighty. Anyways. Here we are. So those parts I found in the engine, I got those ordered in, so I have my retainer clips. And you're gonna need some Permatex Ultra Slick. Basically, what this is the disulfide, the molybdenum disulfide. Really, the long and short of it is that when you reassemble everything, it provides lubrication for the first few moments of starting your bike. So everything kind of mates into place properly. And I had to go 7 places to find any of these cam cap screws in stock. Anywho, so we got our new retainer, got one of our new cam cap bolts in case I screw it up. Also, I found out the bolts for my tensioner were stripped, so I went to Home Depot. I have some more bolts on order, but I can't get them overnighted in time to ride, so I got 2 bolts that are M6, 30 millimeters, should be the appropriate length and throw. And we'll get underway. So since we're gonna go ahead and leave that intake cam or exhaust cam measurement alone until after we remeasure it, we're gonna kind of put you in place to put this bad boy in place to kind of place hold. Alrighty. So what's gonna be important is if you take this bike apart and you have to rekey the timing, you're gonna get it to top dead center in the mark, and then you're gonna get your cam lobes basically pointed outside where they originally were. So that's kind of gonna be the trick of it. So we're gonna pull the chain off of the intake cam. Okay. And we're gonna put this bad boy on the exhaust cam to hold the chain in place. And eventually, now we're gonna have the auto decompression. I'm gonna take the cable off the decompression lever and just take the kind of lever off of itself and use that as a plug. They have engine plugs that fit that application, but honestly, we're not gonna mess with that today. So we've got intake cam. We're gonna get lovely bucket 1 pulled. And we got a shim in there. Let's see if that shim has a friend. So get your shim, your bucket organized on where you're at, and then you'll figure out what your shims are. And sometimes the shim will stay on top of the valve, sometimes it'll stay in the bucket. Boy, this is certainly a very strong magnet. I probably don't need such a strong magnet for this. The middle, there's a bad boy at the end. Got a little bit of stiction there. When we reassemble this, you're going to take that disulfide and pop it off of there. Alright, so these are 178. Hadn't found that one yet. Huh, 178, 178. 178. So I'm going to towel this bad boy off and we're going to see how accurate our caliper is. So you should see 1.78 millimeters. So you make sure your caliper is on, zero out, and then we're gonna grab one of these and see how accurate the Harbor Freight caliper is. 1.7. So that's pretty accurate. We need to buy 0.5 millimeters. So open up our shim kit. And there's videos out there. Rocky Mountain ATV actually has the best video of how to do all the calculations on this. I'm just going to go one size down. So 175 is that's 0.3 down from the stock shims. Wow, really? There's only two 1.70s in here? Alright, so we got two 1.70s. With 0.75, 1.75. Okay, so a few of these are out of order actually. Huh. Alright, so we have three 1.75s, two 1.70s. Should be about three of each in here. One of these shims is not like the others. One of these shims is much thinner. There's my third, 1.70. Alright, so we have our three 1.70s. So I'm going to need to go through and organize all these at some point. Whoa, those are some small shims. So you take your shim and you place it gently on top of the valve seat and seat that bad boy in place. Be very careful not to drop these down into the engine because you will be peeling your head off. And sometimes they're a little bit difficult to properly seat. Come on. There we go. There we go. And then you'll want to put a little bit of molybdenum on top of them. So we'll do that here in a second. Alright, little shims. And let's find my molybdenum. Or as they like to call it, engine assembly lubrication. We're just going to call it red stuff for the purposes of this video. Get the red stuff. Wow. This peel stuff is not working out for me. Not very appealing. Oof. That's some thick stuff. Alright. Put a little dab-a-doo on it. And this stuff is perfectly safe for your engine. Though I wouldn't run a whole engine on assembly lube. Little dab. Little dab. Little dab. And get some in the cam journals. Ooh, that's a little too much, but whatever. A little bit in this race. Extra little dab, lubricate. It's like putting on a tire. A little lubrication never hurts anything. Now you can use conventional engine oil, which is fine, but not preferred. So we dropped, all right, so we had 1.0 clearance and we dropped 0.8. So right now we should be, when I put this back together, we should have 1.8 or 0.18 millimeters of clearance. You check your buckets for any sort of wear, scoring, tempering. If the valves are too tight, they actually burn. So if you see blue buckets or black buckets, understand that you've got a bit of an issue there. Grab a little bit of the doohickey, the red stuff. Grab the red stuff. Chop you back into place. Ooh, that's nice and smooth. Towel off any schmutz that gets on here, because while you got the air blowing like crazy, it looks like we've got a storm blowing in. You clean these things up, make sure you don't introduce any new schmutz to the engine. No new schmutz. Give it a dab of the red stuff. I mean, this almost has a consistency of filter oil, funny enough, but super slick. So another thing to bear in mind is, if you look at the Hotcams stuff, and I'm going to keep on repeating this to make sure I drive the point home, the Hotcam stuff recommends that you still break in with conventional oil, so everything comes back, you know, relatively normal. Apparently it seats better with conventional oil than synthetic. I don't know the veracity of that claim, but honestly I'm more than happy to follow directions, because I know a lot of times when you're breaking in clutches, you're also supposed to use nothing better than a blend. Boy, you're being stubborn about getting clean. My hands are all sticky. Give it a dab. Give it a dab. I know this is exciting. This is making for some riveting YouTube video. Not everything's supposed to be exciting. Everything's supposed to slide back in, barely any resistance. Give the top a little coaty coat. Clean your cam off. And by cam, I don't mean like your own personal, you know, any fan pages you might have. That's your own business. I'm talking about your camshafts, journals, all that stuff. Get your mind out of the gutter. Anyways, so the cam's actually in pretty decent shape. The teeth are a little worn, but it's not terrible. Oh yeah. Give it the go, and just be very liberal in your application of this. That's it. I'm not afraid of putting extra goo on stuff. You want the first time you fire this bad boy up, or the first few times you drag the cams out and get this thing set and timed, to be a very smooth experience. You don't want any metal on metal. That's what you want to avoid. Metal on metal is not your friend, even if you're really into that style of music. Sorry, slayers out there, but it is what it is. Don't want metal right now. Alrighty. Run this cam chain over here. And it should fit a little tight, so, you know, be prepared to have a little bit of struggle getting this bad boy back together. I mean, all the tension's off, but you have a brand new cam chain, so it's definitely going to be a little cantankerous. Come on, man. And you don't want to drop it while you're doing this because that'll be a very unfriendly experience. Maybe I was wrong and I need to do the intake first. Excuse me, exhaust cam. Don't drop the chain. Alright, make sure that's nice and taut. This should be the right chain for the application, so this should fit on here. Ooh, goodness. Okay, this is not one of those situations where you can just run it in there. Come on, man. Well, that's certainly curious. And nothing in the manual tells you exactly how you get this back on. It's like, just lift it back on. Of course. Of course it's just like, lift it back on. Like it's the most natural thing ever. Just put it on there. It'll be fine. Trust me. Huh. Well, that's actually keyed about right off the bat. Double check our instructions because I know the stock stuff wants you to have the timing marks E and I even with the case or even with the head, which is fine. There's another timing punch on this one. I think my my deal's a little advanced. Oh, do we have any instructions? Okay. Valve cover deck. Alright, so the other thing to bear in mind, Hotcams doesn't recommend doing the YZ timing on this, where you advance the intake just a smidge. Actually, it's kind of specific not to do that. Alright, so we're gonna need to lift you off of here. Move you back a tooth. Oh goodness. Alright, have you keyed right. I'm gonna need to have you right there. Oh goodness. Don't want to be scoring this thing across it. Now we're slightly too high. Need you right there. Why are we being difficult? All right. I think we need one more tooth on you. Give me one more tooth. There we go. Now it looks like we're timed properly. Alrighty. I know I haven't put all this stuff back together, or oiled it back up. So we're going to do a little oiling on it. Oh goodness, I forgot that step. I was so obsessed with getting getting this timed right. And sorry I'm bumping you guys a little bit. Don't mean to. I don't plan to pull the exhaust back out unless the timing doesn't line back up. There we go. Whew. That was a bit of a mess there. Alright, so it appears we're timed right. One of these valves is a little bit... yeah, we're straight out on both. Now it looks like this middle valve opens at a slightly different time. Anyways, that's just Yamaha stuff. I'm not used to 5-valve motorcycles. So let's get our bag of tops. We still have our arachnid friend in our tensioner bag. Ugh, boy. Hello, tensioner. That thing's still in good shape. Wound it out, snapped it back, everything moves smoothly. So when you want to find out if this thing's still good or not, you wind it in, then you see if it has smooth actuation. If it has any hangs or glitches, get a new one. This head gasket looks like it's in okay shape, but I'm still going to go ahead and replace it. This thing's definitely needs some cleaning though. Oof. So before we had the mystery of the missing metallic piece, which has been solved. Oh shit. Oof. Not something I want to be butterfingers with. If I score up one of these journals or something, I'm pretty hosed. Don't want to put a ding in this because I don't really have any more. I don't have any more shipping time I can waste on this. Alright, so this is the intake side. Give it the goo. Break a deal, get the wheel. We still have all of our location pins in there. I'm just kind of setting it down in place. Oh, where'd I put my bag of fasteners for this project? You know what? I've got two new snap guides. I should just go ahead and use the new snap guides. Man, I got two new ones. Why not? You know. I only ordered one, but I got two, so I'm not going to complain. Thanks, motorsport.com. Maybe I accidentally ordered two and didn't know it. Anyways, put a little guide back on there. Put that into place. Reorient our valve cap. Apparently is being a little difficult. Ooh, crap. Well, it should be the right way. It's not going to work the other way. Get you keyed on there nice and straight. Barb. Alright, where are we being a little difficult here? Everything should be nice and lined up. I'm gonna toss a little of that extra lube on these pins. Yeah, that'll help. I think this clip's being difficult, so we're gonna set that onto the cam and be very careful not to drop it in there. Alright. Lock you in place. Okay, why are we being difficult? Everything's in place. Well, no one ever said this thing would be hard to fit in here. Well, just put it back together. Maybe it's missing from there so long it's all screwed up and warped. I hope that's not the case. Okay, that seems to be perfectly in place. Is there like some sort of directional way this goes in? Didn't specify. Well, it's important to witness all the struggles that are associated with this. Okay. Slats in the right place. Okay, this is all in the right dang place. Why are we being so dang cantankerous? All right, what's giving me the heartburn here? It'd be very, very depressing if I have a warped head. Alright, that's locked into place. That's sliding down just fine. That's popping out and about to fall down into the engine. Okay. There's something amiss here. So this is probably due to that piece of metal being shut down to the engine for so long. So I'm going to turn off the camera for a second. Try and get this keyed up and figured out. Let's see what's going on. Actually, truth be told, it's probably be like a 1.7. 1.5 is in there nice and easy with a little bit of drag. So that's probably slightly more than a 1.15. And the front, we got a little bit of drag. Let me see how much juice I got left on this thing. Wait a minute, pause real fast.